Tubes. This is that traded lawnmower I got for selling to Murray. This is a side discharge mulch combination Yardmachines with a Briggs 140cc. Just going through it. It does run on a prime for a couple seconds. Looks like they put a new air filter in it. That's good for me. So let's give this a try. This works sometimes. Gonna take some carb spray, just spray that in there. And there is gas in here. And let's see. As you can hear, it's missing a little bit, but it does run now. Before that, it would just run for a couple seconds and shut off. Just putting some carb spray in there helped it. So what I'm going to do is just going to put some, some gum out type cleaner, seafoam type stuff in the gas, and just let it sit there. And I'm going to put some into the carburetor and just let it do its work and see what happens overnight. Now I'll look at this later. I was looking at this. It ran a little bit better after putting some seafoam in, or some stuff in there. But look at this blade. They've hit something, so that could be normal wear. I'll probably sharpen that and put it back on. So I'll let that seafoam, it's not seafoam. This is what I used. This is closest to gum out, not seafoam, but it's supposed to do something similar. This is like the next day. So I just showed you that this does run. I didn't do anything to it except spray some carb spray and use some motor treatment, which is like gum out, in the fuel and in the carburetor. And let's see if this runs now. It runs better now. Either this has a partially sheared flywheel key, or it's got some junk in floating in the carburetor. I think it's more of the carburetor because it's partially clogged. So let's go get at it. So here we are. I'm assuming that there's oil in this. Let's go take a look over here. And there's some oil in it, so it needs to be changed though. It's black. So now for these Briggs, this is a 140cc. It's a 500E series. This is a primer style. The newer Briggs come in a 125cc, 140cc, 150cc, and 163, I think. So this one 140. They put these on self-propelled with both the auto choke and the primer style. So this is the primer style. Take the air filter box off. The previous owner must have replaced the air filter, probably in an attempt to get it to run, which doesn't do anything in this case. And so what we're going to do now is, because it runs for a second and then dies, it's probably the carburetor. If after that it still runs but then it misses a little bit, timing could be off, means they could have hit something. So let's go ahead and this gas tank is full of gas, so I'm going to tip it over a little on its side, carburetor side up, with a cutoff of a 4x4. Now to get to the carburetor, we need to take off these bolts. There's 4 here. There's 2 here that hold the air filter box to the block, or to the housing, and then there's these 2 here that screw into the plastic carburetor. If I remember, actually, it's here and here. These 2. They are 2 different sizes. In metric, they're 7 and 8. In standard, it is 5/16 and 9/32, I believe. Yeah. So, some of you, if you're doing this for the first time, you might want to take the cover off. It's just 3 5/16 bolts, and I may take that off if I need more room. And you probably want to get a hose clamp. Vice grips to clamp off the hose, the fuel line, to keep gas from escaping out of the gas tank. So this is 5/16. That should be these. You can use this cover as a place to put your bolts. The other ones are 9/32 or 7mm. These screw into plastic. So they have a different threading, whereas the ones that screw in, these are machine screws. They screw into metal for sheet. Now that we got that off, we should be able to just pull off the carburetor and pull this off, and you'll make sure that when you reconnect it that you connect the PVC line. Let me see. Yeah, for ease of access, I'm going to go ahead and remove the cover. I need to get a new mechanic's chair. It's missing a wheel. So here's your 3 shoulder bolts. And now we have access, easy access. Great, better for filming. So, well, to make this easier, you can take the gas tank off. It just slides up like so through these clips here. This is sort of like how Tecumseh's gas tanks used to go on. So now we want to move the hose clamp a little bit and take the fuel line off. There, and there we go. Now you can, the carburetor will, make sure that gas tank is out of the way. Now, this just slides out. And note, this ring came out. It's important. You need to put that back in. That sometimes happens on these newer style Briggs. So you bend it forward on the Z-bend, put your fuel, your finger on that, and keep the fuel from coming out, and then you get your carburetor. Interesting. I think I found out why this wasn't running right. There's supposed to be an O-ring in there that this clips into. So let me just put the O-ring in and see what happens. Generic rebuild kit. It's missing this O-ring. If you don't have this, and you pull this off, and you just get a white ring, you're missing an O-ring. So you can probably just take this ring with you and see if you can match one up to somewhere. Maybe your local hardware store might have one. I don't remember the size, but how it goes, and I'm just gonna put this in here, is O-ring first. You can push it down. Maybe use your thumb, push it in there. And then this is the white retaining clip that goes over it and holds it in place. What that does is it provides a seal on the intake, which if you don't have a good seal on the intake, will exhibit the behavior that we saw where this was kind of missing out or in this stopping at random sometimes. So that could be it. Only thing that's wrong with it. I don't know if the other if it was missing and this is this old, that means someone's been in here and forgot to put it, got lost and forgot to get put back. So lesson learned. So I'm just going to put this back in. First goes the throttle. Like so.
Goes in like that. It did leak a little fuel. And let's just hook up the, let's see. Why is that like that anyway? Put the gas tank back on. And let's stick this fuel line back on.
There we go. And let's I'm gonna put the cover back on. Excuse me. So take these shoulder bolts. These and just actually, here's the thing. I just realized this. When I took the carburetor off, that O-ring fell on the floor. So it did have an O-ring in there. It just was loose. So the fact that it was that loose could be why this wasn't running right. If it runs right now, if it runs now without a problem, then that was the issue. If not, the carburetor needs to be cleaned. Back together, let's just see how this runs. Take the carburetor off again. And this time the O-ring and retaining clips stuck to the engine. That will have to come off and put back onto the carburetor. Okay, now we have to open this carburetor up. So there's two, I believe it's 9/32 bolts. And you can drain it a little bit like this. Coming out I am using an old cookie sheet here. Get this bowl open. You're gonna have to pry it open. It's sealed with an O-ring, and basically you take a small flathead screwdriver and you kind of there's a few places you can get it in between here, and you can pry it open. Oh yeah, there we go. This one, I may have to get a smaller one. So you stick this in like, and if this has never been off before, it will be difficult. There. So you get in there like that, and then this bowl comes off. And here's the inside of the carburetor. This is where they're gonna get clogged up. So I got my carb spray, I got some wires that help clean out the jets, but to get to it, let's take the float off. This pin here slides back and forth. What you do is you just like that. And be careful how you take it out. There is a needle attached. There's your needle. Don't lose that. I'm gonna stick it down here. I'm gonna stick this down here inside the carb bowl so to not lose it, and keep it relatively clean. Now, this here is your main jet. This is where they're going to get clogged up. So to get this open, there's a couple little slots that you can barely see. Take a small flathead screwdriver. You can do that, or you can do this. Sometimes you can do that. Other times you have to do this. You have to do that, and then it will come out. This is where it's going to be clogged up. So here you need to clean out everything. This does come apart. This part comes off. I don't do that because most of the time I'll break the plastic because it can get brittle. If you want, you can just buy this part. It's like between $7 and $12. But you can get a whole new carburetor for what, 15, 20? Oh. So you're gonna clean this out. Again, this is just carb spray. And I'm gonna get my wire here. And this is wire from a twisty tie for like a loaf of bread. So what you're gonna do is all these holes, you're gonna try to just ram that into, because there's probably, yeah, there could be some ethanol buildup or something. Some people use mechanics wire. And after you're done, and you want to bend this wire so you can, it's basically you're scraping the sides of it. You want to get all those ethanol or whatever's gunked up on it. So then do this and spray it out. And then that one too. And then the biggest thing is that's the jet that clogs up always on these. The other ones, not so much. But it's because this piece here does come out. I just don't want to do it because most times I break it. Or you got to be really gentle. Okay. Now just spray this out. You want to spray out there. You see that little white thing in there? If that moves, you won't be able to get this in because that's where this goes into. So this will only go on in one way. So it goes like this, and then you just push it in. Now we're going to reassemble it. Try to avoid losing anything like that. So now we're going to reassemble now. That's temporary. Now I need to put this pin in. Here, and then this will just snap in, and there we go. Now there's only a little bit of junk on it on the float, so just there. And we want to just clean out the carb bolt. So I'm gonna get some towel, with a shop towel. I'm just gonna wipe this out. This spot you see here that's indented, that's where that jet sits in. So that's where all the junk ends up. So, and that's where you want it to be clean. I'm doing it. Stick it back together. It only goes on one way. So line the holes up, push it in, put your bolts in, okay. Make sure they thread in fine by hand. Then I'm going to take my drill and do this now. I've got this set on the torque setting 9, not for this drill, but best to do this by hand. do not want to put these in over tight because you can strip out the plastic. And then you're going to have to find another bolt to put in there or get a whole new carburetor. So let's just put this back on. So that goes in there like that. I think the Briggs Classics carburetors did the same setup. Okay, let's see. Now I've cleaned the carburetor. And re-put it back. Let's see. Just to show you, now this is oil I took out. It's still good. I might reuse it for something else, but just sticking that back in. As you can see, the oil line is right there on the mark and it's clean. So just gonna leave it. I'm not gonna change it. So my neighbor just came over. His lawnmower won't start. So I've helped him out before, so he's gonna just drop it by. It's a Tecumseh on a Lawn Boy. Probably around 2007. So I'll see what I can do with that one. So now I'm gonna show how you take off the blade. I believe it's a 5/8 or on it. Oh, that wasn't on too hard. Oh, gonna go sharpen this blade. Here at the end, this was a trade-in. Just carburetor clean out, sharpened the blade. Had too much oil in it, took out about 2 ounces, and it had a new air filter, and I power washed it. And I fixed my neighbor's mower. I didn't show that, but it diagnosed it to be a spark plug and probably a combination of other things. So I put a used plug in it and he was able to mow his lawn.